Welcome to another highly questionable week. What do we have today, Bomani?
We're just going to start acting like Warriors Blazers is already over.
Really?
Yeah,
we are?
Yeah,
both of us? All of us? All three of us? Vamos, papi.
Did the Pacers get hosed by the ref?
The Raptors were really celebrating, wheezing past a 7 seed. And if we'd given them like 3 more seconds of season, they would have figured out how to cough up that entire series. Did they get hosed? I mean, there were no calls late. They only got 8 free throws for the whole game. Yeah, it's a foul, but you're just not going to get that on the road in a Game 7, Bomani. Charlotte shot 4 free throws while that Game 7 on the road was being decided yesterday against Miami, and they only got 8 for the game.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but you just saw that. Like, DeMar DeRozan did not turn into Charles Oakley when we weren't looking and just start uprooting dudes the size of Ian Mahimi from under the goal. They got hosed in that regard. However, I do not know the last time I watched a basketball game that neither team was particularly interested in winning, quite like it was in this one. I think both would have preferred to have won. Nobody really see, who told DeMar DeRozan that he could just shoot his way out of that? Because he just about shot them out of the season and shot himself out of some free agency stuff.
Oh, boy. The Heat, they got to play the Raptors.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that the Heat, they got no shot.
What?
Yeah, I don't think that they got a shot.
Okay.
I'm really scared.
All right.
Are you kidding me? They're soft. They almost lost against the Pacers.
That would be the same Heat that went 7 against Charlotte. Just a thought.
Never mind.
Are the Thunder officially
I mean,
Okay.
that's kind of a harsh way to go about talking about this. They did get smoked in San Antonio on Saturday night. They lost that game by 35 points. They played awful defense. The Spurs hit just about every shot that they took, and that was followed up by Adrian Wojnarowski of Yahoo saying if it keeps up like this, basically Kevin Durant is as good as gone. So are they all the way bleeped? Not yet. I think winning tonight would be a really, really good idea, though.
I do think that Kawhi Leonard muzzling Russell Westbrook like that was pretty impressive and a testament to Kawhi Leonard can guard just about anybody in the league other than Steph Curry. But, Bomani, I have marveled at this. It wasn't but 3 years ago that we thought that Oklahoma City was a really bad matchup for San Antonio. And organizationally, structurally, the San Antonio Spurs have made it, so that doesn't feel that way anymore. That's a tribute to San Antonio because I'm telling you, 3 years ago we were talking about the Spurs don't want any part of the Thunder.
I thought that Billy Donovan was supposed to be an upgrade, eh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, he looks good on TV.
Yeah.
You know, he
Yeah,
got
he
that
does look
suit,
good.
you know.
Yeah. But they look exactly the same.
Yeah, he looks like that, you know, and then look at the final score.
Yeah.
What's a blowout?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
They look the same. You know what sounds the same? We're still not treating Kevin Durant like we do the other superstars and stuff like this happens.
That's true, too.
Should the Steph Curry return for Game 3 if the Warriors are crushing people?
Well, I do think that the last game was a little bit of an aberration. I do think the Warriors are going to have trouble without Steph Curry in Portland. Keep in mind, Portland was 7 of 24 from within 3 feet. But what they're doing that's really impressive, Bomani, is they're scoring from all over the court, and it doesn't matter who they're playing. It was one thing to do it against Houston. Portland's actually better. They try hard throughout the game, and Golden State was scoring from everywhere anyway.
Yeah, but Portland isn't that much better. Let's not forget that Portland got here largely because the infirm Clippers didn't have their 2 best players to play in that series. If you're beating Portland consistently and beating them thoroughly in all these games, then yeah, why would you rush bringing Steph Curry back? If you go 6 against Portland, it's not the worst thing in the world. You bring Steph Curry back 1 millisecond too soon, and it could ruin everything.
Well, maybe they should take that MVP trophy away from Steph Curry. Eh? I mean, after all, they're doing very well without him. Who needs him anymore?
I mean, there is an argument to that. Like
No, come on.
I mean,
Come
look,
on.
You take LeBron off the Cavs. You
Come
think
on.
they're doing this?
Come on.
I'm just saying.
Will George Karl's comment make it harder for the Kings to hire the right coach?
All right, George Karl did an interview with the Sacramento Bee, and got to say, pretty much everything he said in the interview sounded reasonable. He talked about how whoever's going to be the coach for Sacramento has to be empowered in a way that he felt like he wasn't empowered. He said Vlade Divac was in the locker room, watched DeMarcus Cousins profanely berate him, and did nothing as a result. So that meant he had no authority with the rest of the team. These are all things everybody kind of figured anyway, though. This is what we thought this job was going to be. The question is, do you think you can be the person to get through to DeMarcus Cousins? And will the management behind you help? We already knew that was going to be the issue with that job.
We talked to George Karl on the radio today, and he said if he had to do one thing over again, he wouldn't have said publicly that every player on the team was tradable, because it ended up hurting Boogie Cousins, and once he hurt Boogie Cousins, he fractured that trust in a way that was not repairable after that. So George Karl was in a position where not only was he neutered by management, he didn't have the faith of his best player. That's not a situation that many people can win in.
Oh, George Karl, I mean, he worked a year. He got paid for about 4 years. You know,
Yeah.
that's the right thing
Yeah.
to do. You know, you
Yeah.
go against Boogie Cousins, and then you got a free ride for about 3 years, you know?
That is one thing. If you go down there, take that job, and don't get along with Cousins, you can get a lot of money to do no work.
That's such a good point there. You can coach Boogie Cousins for 1 year and be paid for it, and then get paid for not coaching Boogie Cousins for many more years.
Is Luke Walton smart to take the Lakers job?
Man, you better have players in this league, and you just saw Steve Clifford and Brad Stevens, both of whom are really good coaches. As good as we've got in this league, they both lost in the first round, maximizing their talent. Laker talent isn't even close to that kind of talent, so I feel like Luke Walton will try to implement the system there, but his colleague Alvin Gentry had Anthony Davis and couldn't get to the playoffs. This is a much worse roster than that one.
All right, but let's stop and think about this for a second, because at some point Walton's going to have to take a head coaching job. It's not a bad location to work in. You know the organization just a little bit, and I still contend Russell, Clarkson, and Randall, not a bad 3 guys to have. I think you'd want to wait this job out to see if they got the pick in the lottery, though, before you took it. But I don't think what they have in L.A. is nearly as bad as other people make it out to be. Those other dudes on the roster, they can be replaced.
Well, it's not like he had a tough act to follow.
Well, that's true. That is true. That's the guy you want to succeed, right? I don't use succeed the way it's usually used.
Coming up next on my son's TV show, we talk to Misha Tate.
And I put my palms up, so I used my wrists because I didn't know anything about punching, and I just pummeled him. I hit him probably 3-4 times in the face with my wrist, like upward in his nose, and I broke his nose, and it was bleeding, man. And he left.
Joining us at the beach today is Misha Tate.
UFC bantamweight champion. She's a bad woman. Beat Holly Holm. Fun to talk to. Let's get to know her a little bit. What's the most scared you've been entering a fight?
You know, it's weird because it's different for every fight. I feel like the most fear I've had is I mean probably even this last title fight, because I felt like it was a one-time opportunity. You know, I didn't know if I would ever get that again, and I was supposed to fight Ronda this last time, and then when Holly fought her, so I was like, I don't want to take this for granted. Like, if I don't win this fight, there's no guarantee I'll ever get back to fighting for a title again. And that's the thing. It's not scary for me to get punched in the face, or I don't fear injury. Obviously, I've signed up for this for a long enough time to understand that that's the risk versus reward. But for me, the scary part is not fulfilling everything that everyone believes that I'm capable of, including myself.
You're addicted to the competition. Can you give us an example of a time, board games, whatever, where you were, by your own analysis, stupid about competing, where you were just an idiot because it was so important to win at something, and you're like, what was I doing?
Oh yeah. Well, one time I'm a pretty avid inner tuber behind the boat, so I'll get into these challenges with guys, like even really big guys, and we'll be on the same tube together, and I just have an iron grip. Like, I will not let go for anything, even to the point where if I have to like kick someone off the tube to make sure that I win, I will do that. Like, no holds barred. And one time I kicked my friend off of the tube, and he actually like fell in such a way that he tore his groin, and I felt really bad about that. But you know, he
sound like
went
you
off.
feel really bad about it. The way
I
that you're
did. I
laughing
did.
right now.
I didn't mean for him to get hurt, but I just wanted to stay on longer, and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that.
How does this go with your man? He's also a UFC fighter. Are you competitive with him in a way that's unreasonable?
Yeah, definitely. There's been times where he's getting the better of me in sparring, and the bell goes off, and he'll like drop his gloves to like walk away, like do, and I'm just like, mother, and I've like swung at him after the bell, just like trying to get that one last punch in, because I'm so I'm just ultra competitive, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, sparring with the person you're dating feels like an unwieldy proposition.
Yeah,
like we thought maybe you guys played some other games.
There are
I didn't
there
realize
are a
y'all
lot
were
of
squaring off.
landmines there. That seems like a bad idea, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely choose our battles. We definitely pick our battles. Obviously, we've been together for 9 years, so we've learned how to work together really well. And that doesn't happen very often, especially anymore. But there's times when I just feel like, if he's like messing around or trying to play with me, I'm just like, I was like, don't do that. I was like, you have to go home with me. So there'll be more consequences to pay later if you mess around too much.
Can you give us an example in your youth of a boy trying you physically and you burying him?
Yeah. So on the cross streets of where I lived, there was this like fallen part of a fallen telephone pole, and it was in such a way that it was probably 15 feet or so. And I would stand on one end of it, and my friends would stand on the other end, and we'd wiggle it back and forth until one of us fell off in like another game, right? So these kids came out and were like, "You're on our area, like you're on our side of the street," because I lived on the other side of the street. So you need to leave. I'm like, "This is public property. You can't tell me that I need to leave." And they wanted to fight us. And one of the kids came at me. They're like, "Get her, get her, get her!" And it came at me. And for some reason, I was in 3rd grade, 4th grade, and I think he was like 5th grade, like a year older than me. And I put my palms up, so I used my wrists because I didn't know anything about punching, and I just pummeled him. I hit him probably 3-4 times in the face with my wrist, like upward in his nose, and I broke his nose, and it was bleeding, and he left. Anyways, needless to say, we went back to playing our push each other off the telephone pole game.
That's the second person that she is seriously injured in the
blood
course of
on
this
her
interview.
hands. You played that game with blood on your hands.
Yeah.
Broken nose, blood on your hands.
Essentially, yes.
No, essentially.
Not essentially. It sounds like that's what you did, and it sounds like you enjoyed it, and it sounds like you decided to make a career of it right there. That
I
was your
guess so.
decision. I have a taste for this.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. God, call me crazy.
Misha, thanks for being on with us. We appreciate it.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
What do we got? Oh, that's what we got. That guy. That is tremendous. Oh, I love that. Yes. Oh, they have so much more fun playing baseball over there.
Me and all my people doing well, dog. You know, from the city, I could tell, dog. Did it by myself, dog. Blew up, and I'm in the city still. I'm still here, dog.
Is that Drake?
Highly Questionable is broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that has lived hard and has seen many, many things. Do you question?
You give us topics and events. We question.
Do you question this batter's plate approach?
We're going to high school baseball in Connecticut because I don't know.
Neither do I. Oh, wow, that is standing in there, Bomani. That's no fear whatsoever.
It ain't no brains neither. Like I mean, there had to be some other way to accomplish the goal, right?
Wow, that is zero fear of the pitcher's fastball right there. I
And
mean,
that's
zero.
nothing to brag about. I mean, no. No fear is if you stand in there and it comes right under your chin. It comes straight at your helmet. Something's not right with you.
I feel like that pitcher wasn't throwing very hard.
That was a good helmet. That was a very good helmet. But you want to see a better helmet?
Uh-oh, what's
Watch
this?
this.
What's this?
1974 года, калибр
Oh,
7,62.
no.
Проверка забрала бронежилет.
No.
Раз.
No!
2, 3.
Ah!
Yeah.
В ушах
Wow,
звенит.
that seems irresponsible.
Better helmet, dumber batter.
I mean, oh my God, that is mortifying.
And not the real issue isn't so much do you think the helmet will stand up. The real issue is are you sure he's going to shoot you in the head? Because that was best case scenario.
Do you question if this guy's a good fan?
All right, so Hornets Heat, they got this guy in Charlotte. They're calling him Purple Shirt Guy. Now, how you become the guy in the purple shirt when you're rooting for a team that has purple as one of its primary colors? Just this is how. This is how you do this. There he is. Looking like Donatello the Ninja Turtle from the distance.
Wade leans in.
And Dwayne made so many bad shots at the
Oh,
end of
yeah,
this
walking
game.
jacks. He walked so many jacks in that game.
I mean,
I
Heat
can't.
fans were annoyed by him, and Charlotte fans are blaming him for getting Dwayne Wade agitated. He was telling Dwayne Wade to retire, and the funny part of this, talk to this guy on the radio show today too. He says he's now retired. He's giving up his seats. He's not going to do it anymore. Dwayne Wade ended him.
I mean, you can keep going to the games. Just stop acting like a doofus.
He says he's not going to the games anymore.
So you act like a doofus at home?
You know what? A silly-looking shirt. I'll never wear the silly-looking shirt like that.
He would never
Never
wear
Never
it.
in my life.
He only wears shirts that are cool.
Now you see it?
Oh, look at this.
Now you
Look
don't.
at that.
It has disappeared.
Yes, it's like a Las Vegas magic act.
Time to play the game that doesn't remember the last segment. See or no?
Tell us what's on television tonight. We'll tell you if we're intrigued.
On TNT, Game 1, Hawks and Cavaliers.
Sure, interested in this. Keep in mind, by the way, in the last series against Detroit, LeBron, for his team, didn't take the most shots and didn't score the most points. That does not normally happen, and they swept the Pistons anyway. But, Monty, are you intrigued?
Yeah, I'll be intrigued. By the way, that fact that you gave about Kyrie Irving, that sounds really good when they win. If they lose and those two things keep up, we're blaming everything on Kyrie.
Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very cheap because everyone is counting out the Hawks. I got news for you. They are ready. They're ready for the challenge ahead. You know, everybody's going to say, boy, this Hawk team, they really have what it takes. You know, they are going to go deep into the playoff, and you never know. They might pull a major upset in the NBA.
Yeah, I said that about them beating the Cavs last year. That was a sweep without Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love.
You mean to tell me you're not supporting your team? You got to support your team.
Why are they mine?
Huh?
Why they got to be mine?
Well, yeah,
used to
sure.
be
You
your
know, I
team.
mean,
It used to be your
Yeah,
team.
until February 24th, 1994, when they traded Dominique.
who is Dominique?
Yeah, you knew that. We've interviewed him 3 times on the show. My father still doesn't know who he is.
On NBC Sports Network, Capitals and Penguins Game 3.
1-1. Series is tied. Let's check in on Brooks Orpik. You got a minor here for this. And this is late. You'll see that right there. That's the puck is gone. He got a minor on the ice, and then a 3-game suspension, Bomani, for doing that. That's not cool. 3 games. He used to be with the Penguins. Are you intrigued, Bomani? Did I take everything there?
No, I'm just not intrigued. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with you. I'm just not.
Okay, you're just not intrigued. All right, good enough. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued because what is going to happen, the same thing that has been happening for the last 8 years. You know, the Capitals, even though they are the best team in hockey, they are going to lose against the Penguins. You know, they have 7 losses and 1 win in the last eight games that they have faced the Penguins. So that's it, you know. Now you know the script. That's it.
8 series, not 8 games. 8 series, like the last 8 series.
Serious.
Right.
Series,
not the
no
last 8
games.
Series.
Serious.
Yes, excellent.
Serious.
Yes,
You
excellent.
got it right, Bomani.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, is that close enough for
that
you?
trick works better in other situations.
Yes.
In Korea, the NC Dinos against the KT Wiz.
Why? Do we have some swaggering watching of home runs? Every time we go to Korean baseball, there's some home run trot or some sort, or watching the ball. What do we got? Oh, that's what we got. That guy. That is tremendous. Oh, I love that. Yes.
360.
Oh, they have so much more fun playing baseball over there.
Everywhere but here.
I know. It's going to be so shocking when someone offers Bryce Harper $500 million and he ends up going to Korea instead. Bomani, are you intrigued?
Yeah, I can feign intrigue just because I was so impressed by the way the gentleman handled it. But hey, he was also old school. He ran it out.
Yes.
Like, look at the way he was booking it up the
Yes.
baseline.
He pirouetted and then started sprinting. Poppy, are you
Oh,
intrigued?
see, I'm very intrigued. But I tell you one thing, you know, I mean, they play a lot of baseball in South Korea, but I didn't see too many fans on those stands, you know. I mean, what are the fans doing? You got to support your local teams, you know. I'm telling you something. You got to spend more time on the baseball field, you know. because that's the way it is. You know, you got to support your leaders there in the baseball area.
You live in Miami. How dare you tell anybody to go watch the baseball
When's the
team?
last time you went to a Marlins game?
Oh, I have been years.
I know. I mean, it's right by your house, man.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
Talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Gracias. See you mañana.
You had to bring that up.
I know.
I was on a roll.
I know, you really
you
were on
cut
a
me
roll.
off like that.
I know,
That's
really.
you know, it's not every day that I'm on a roll.
I know I did. I undercut you.
I'm your old man. You got to respect me, you know?